Hey, hey, Mega Mom, Jessica Hensley here, and I am joined by my right hand woman, ML Craig. Hey, ML.
Hey.
And so, if you don't know, I run a micro team. So, you've heard the term mega team before, ML, but I mean, you're not really part of the real estate industry, or you weren't before you started working for me. Had you ever heard the term mega team?
I had not. I didn't know anything about real estate at all.
Okay, so a mega team, in case you don't know, is where you have you have a team leader and they have a lot of agents, and typically they're closing like 500 or more homes a year. I mean, and it's hard to even imagine that. But our team, we close between 100 and 150 homes every single year in this micro team model. And what I've noticed is there's a lot of people in our group that are talking about maybe forming teams, or they've been on teams, or maybe they're solo and they're like, I need help, but I don't know where to start. So I thought that what we could do today is we could peel the curtain back and we could talk about our structure and what is a micro team, what do you do on the team, how do you feel about it as a team member of a micro team. So everyone that's watching right now, if you're watching us live on Facebook, if you could comment and let me know where you're serving, and also tell me if you're a solo agent, team leader, mega team leader, expansion team leader. Like, tell me your setup. Tell me what your dynamic looks like for your real estate business. I feel like most of our members are in the solo agent phase. There's a few that are starting that team process, and it can be scary. It can be scary to go from solo to having a team. Have you noticed that, ML? I mean, you've been talking to our members too.
I have. I mean, it's definitely scary to, I think, start a team because you're so used to doing things a certain way and doing those things on your own that it's kind of frustrating if you bring in new team members that are just not doing things the way that you're accustomed to or they want to change things. It can be scary. It's hard to
Yeah.
let go of that control, but also having that team is so, it's functional and it's easier to streamline things, and so it works for
Yeah,
us.
it does work for us. So I have had both experiences. I've been a solo agent. I was a solo agent for the first 11 years of my career. And I tried a few times to bring on an assistant. So my first hire was actually my sister, Jennifer, whenever um, I was 18 and I got my license. And I'm like, I need an assistant. So I hired my 16-year-old sister. So I
Awesome.
think it's always been in me. I knew that I wanted leverage. I knew what I was good at and what I'm not good at.
Mhm.
But that, you know, that was I was too young. I didn't have my system set up. It just didn't work out. So yeah, so then we have started our brokerage, and I hired an assistant there, was able to close a ton of houses that year in 2015. And then I've had a couple different team models. So when I started the brokerage, I hired several agents. I think at our height, we had like 10 or 11 agents. And it was definitely that brokerage type team, quote unquote, where each agent did their own things. We sent them leads, but I was still responsible for my own production. And what I found was I was really spread thin. I had to do pretty much everything, or I had to be very hands on for what I was asking somebody to help me with. And so fast forward to today, we have one full time person, which is ML. And I hesitate to say your title because you kind of wear multiple hats on our team. So, why don't you share what is it that you do for the Heritage Homes team?
I mean, I really think, I mean, office manager has, like you said, that I wear many hats, but I just do wherever I'm needed is where I'm going to go. And I mean, starting off, I didn't have all the experience that I feel like maybe I should have had, but you've taught me the systems, and now, I mean, I'm doing sales and marketing. I didn't have experience in that, but you've really taught me what that position takes. So office manager is really what I go with. I
Yeah.
just do whatever I'm needed. I'm wherever I'm needed for the team, for Jessica. I do leads management. I do admin stuff. Or I mean, really, whatever is needed for the team is where I'm going to be. But I would say leads is going to be one of the biggest things that I do because that brings in a lot for our agents as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and so your position has definitely evolved over time. So for when you were first hired, we first had you actually working for Mega Moms.
mhm,
And then you came over and you were a property manager. You handled all of the property management side for us.
yes,
And then you started doing some marketing, I believe. Um, and then you started doing the ISA work, which is basically where ML sits. So if you think about it, ladies, the way a micro team works is the team leader is the one that's doing most of the production. So the team leader, you can also refer to them as like the rainmaker. A lot of people in this industry uh, relate to that term and understand what that means. It's basically the person that has most of the experience, most of the sales. They have the past clients. They have the phone calls that are coming in where people just want to list or just want to buy. So they have a lot of organic business. And what happens with this rainmaker or this team leader that's starting to see this great success is they have too many opportunities. And so they feel like they're spread too thin. They feel like they don't have enough time in the day. They feel like, oh my gosh, I'm dropping balls because I have too many things going on. And so in the micro team model, the first thing you do is you outline your organization. So understanding what different departments and different roles that you're already doing yourself is so important. I talk about how really the first step to finding an assistant or hiring is to hire yourself, because you need to know what systems you want in place and how you want your team to run in order to bring on a team member to effectively be that person for you, right? So
right,
for me, one of those things that you do is you're in my Facebook all the time.
yes,
Yeah. And so the way that happened is we already kind of had a system in place that I had refined, so to speak. And not that you haven't improved it, because you have, but I think having the base of here's how you do it, here's what we expect, that helped a lot. Would you agree?
oh for sure, yeah. You already had a system in place, and just kind of streamlining that and just continuing to grow it, I think has really helped. So I get in Jessica's Facebook and I messages her. And so we're getting a lot more feedback, a lot more engagement on Facebook and Instagram, just because she already has a very large presence. So just continuing that engagement over time has really, I believe, helped in our small business. So
What would you say is something that we do that really helps you as a team member have security in your position and just to know that what you're doing is making a difference?
um, I mean, we are meeting every Monday. We're staying on track. We're staying in communication. I have a very outlined job description, so I know what's expected of me. If we need to go back and review anything, I mean, we're meeting and we're just communicating what really truly needs to be happening to grow our team, our small team, and just knowing what your outline is and what your parameters are. I feel like is the best way
Yeah.
to answer that. So
Yeah, totally. I was kind of thinking the same thing. I think the game changer for us was when we started implementing our weekly what we call level 10 meetings. So we have a very clear outline and we try to follow it for the most part. Sometimes there's some deviation, but we have our clear outline of what we're going through, who's reporting what, and what metrics that they're going to report every single week. So something that ML is responsible for on our team is she is our leads manager and she also does marketing. So those go really hand in hand
mhm.
because she's putting the content out there that's supposed to get some results, and then she's measuring the results with the leads. And so, what would you say? Like, tell them what your expectation is as far as phone calls, connections, getting people approved, things like that?
So first, we've created a leads tracker spreadsheet so that all of the agents, all the team members can go on to that spreadsheet and look to see how many connections we've had, how many phone calls the office is making, how many leads have actually converted over to our agents. So it's really good to be able to visualize and see this as a whole team as well. But we have metrics that we follow as far as how many calls need to be made, how many connections need to be made, how many Zillow calls we're making, how many home, I just forgot the word, how many,
Valuation?
yeah, how many
Valuations,
home
yeah.
valuations are being requested through our website on a daily basis or a weekly basis. So there's just very clear metrics that I think really helps our team to stay connected to each other whenever we're not all in the office. We're seeing how many new leads are coming into the office, how many of those have been connected over and transferred over to an agent. And so looking back at that spreadsheet that we've created, last week or last month, we can just see how much growth there is and how much more potential and growth there is as well, just by that simple spreadsheet. So
Yeah, I mean, tracking numbers is so important. So ML reports, like she said, how many attempts she has. So like she has to make calls where obviously people don't answer or maybe they hang up. So we have her track like how many people does she try to call that are check-ins on our website or past leads and follow-ups and things like that. And then she's reporting how many people she spoke with. So, how many did she have an actual conversation with? And then, how many did she connect to myself or the agents? We have 2 agents besides myself that work on the team. And that's mainly because those were positions we already had. So we kept them on. Now those 2 agents do things for me in the team. So one of them is my showing agent and the other one is my listing coordinator. And they can both get their own business. They both handle like overflow leads on our team. But as far as for me, what they do for when I say team, I mean like my business. Angela shows houses for my buyers, and we're in a group message. She's aware of any showing requests that comes. She has to send them new properties that match their search pretty much weekly. She's helping me remain in contact with these people. So this is how I'm able to sell 100 homes a year with this setup working less than 20 hours a week. And I know that because of my team, they get amazing, my clients get amazing service and they get consistent service because of this setup that we have. And so the other one, listing coordinator, she handles everything from paperwork to showing requests to feedback to getting it on the MLS. And so where I get to exist in my team as a micro team leader is where I love, which is I love to win the business, which means going on that buyer consultation, listing consultation, and then I also love to negotiate. So I love to write contracts and I love to help my clients be in the best position to win with their offer and to accomplish their goal. Beyond that, I have help, and I'm not going to say I never show a house. Me and Angela kind of have a 70-30 thing going on. So I'm going to show about 30% of the time. She shows about 70% of the time. But she gets paid regardless if she's showed that house because I count on her to set up the showing request. I count on her to stay in contact with the client. And so she's fully bought in with all of my buyers. My listing coordinator gets paid regardless if it sells because she's fully bought in with my listings. So I think that there was a few things that we did to just make sure the whole team was totally bought in to this process.
yeah.
So, I mean, feel free, people that are watching right now, ladies that are watching right now, if you have specific questions about our team. But I'm going to ask some hard questions now, ML. I think that people love to hear how it's successful, how things are going really well. But it's not always sunshine and rainbows, right? So, what are some obstacles that we've came across as a team? Biggest obstacles that we've overcome, and like ways we figured out around those issues?
I would say the biggest thing for us is not only just having our weekly L10 meeting that we've done that for quite a while now, but really sticking to our level 10 and going over what's working, what's not working, what's broken, what's missing, and really just targeting those each week. But also we have our annual team meeting as well, where we can really just hash everything out. What is truly, benefiting us now? What's going to be benefiting us in the next year? Um, what is our goal? Individual goals. What is our micro team goal? Just really, our team just works really well together. And by having these annual meetings and weekly meetings, I feel like that really allows us to just get everything in line with each other. And I feel like that's really benefited us as a team because we're more like a family.
We really are. Yeah, and I feel like we've had to kind of find the right people for each role.
Mhm.
And one thing that I think has really helped is the communication for sure. We all have such great relationships with each other. And I know that that's hard to find, but I think that was possible whenever I truly defined here's the roles, here's what you're doing, here's how you get compensated. Because that's whenever I would have issues in the past when things weren't the same, were continually changing, processes were continually changing, comp was continually changing, those kind of things. And not that we don't ever have changes now, but I think that was probably a source of contention in the past was change, constant
Probably
change.
so, yeah. And of course, that's gonna continue to happen, but with change, there's also results and growth, which we're seeing individually as well. So I think
Yeah.
that's just really worked for us, for
Well,
sure.
and the other thing is your attitude about it and like each team member's attitude about it. Not and I don't feel like we're changing as much as I did in the past.
Mhm.
But I think for me, whenever I would change a role or change something that was going on, it was because I was looking for the right setup to make everyone happy. And
Right.
whenever I stopped trying to please everyone else and I decided, okay, here's what I want. And this is something that I've had a lot of team members tell me before, and ML, you tell me this a lot too. It's like, Jessica, this is your business.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that that's hard, and I mean maybe different for different personality types. But we read this morning in our team meeting. We were reading our Cloverleaf, which if you don't know what Cloverleaf is and you're a team leader, you should check it out. But it's basically like a combination of a lot of different personality assessments, Enneagram, um, Myers Briggs, DISC. So there's like 5 or 6 different personality tests and it gives you these coaching tips every day. And it's not just to me as a team leader, but my team gets it. And something that I think ML shared and maybe Madison was that I like to make everyone happy. And so I base my decisions on how is it going to make everyone feel. And so that's actually been something that sabotaged me in the past. I've not protected my peace, my business, because I've been too concerned with what everyone else is going to think. But you know what? It is my business.
Mhm.
And it's okay. It is okay for me to say, here's my core values, here's what's important to me. And I think that we work so well today because you guys all align with my core values.
Yes.
I can't say that for some people that have worked for us in the past. In fact, they've opened my eyes to what is my core values. It's like, oh, I see that particular trait, we're just not in alignment, right? It's just against my values. And one of those things is being okay with change.
Yep.
Right? Thinking outside the box and embracing change, always wanting to grow, always willing to learn and grow. That's on our core values list. And I think that, ML, you're a great example of that.
Well, thank you.
I'm trying to think what else we could share that's maybe helpful and insightful on how to start this team. But I know that I can't imagine having a real estate business anyway else, right? I don't want to go backwards. I love our team setup. I love the support I get from you ladies. Okay, when did you decide to do a micro team? Was it once you reached so many transactions? Great question. So I'm actually training other agents how to build micro teams, and I actually am writing a book on it. It's currently being edited. And so what I recommend is if you have maybe two transactions a month that you're ready to bring on that like part-time person. And then when you get to 50 transactions, then you're ready to bring on a full-time staff member. Now, one thing I will say, caveat to that, no matter how many transactions you're doing, if you struggle with paperwork and that's not your strong suit, I would recommend hiring a transaction coordinator right off the bat. Because and when I say that, I mean a transaction coordinator company, not somebody that's in-house that's only working on your transactions. Hire someone that's their specialty, they have a proven process, they have a checklist, they're going to elevate your client experience, and it's going to take off the pressure. Because something that I hear a lot from our clients is, I want communication. And if you are not, it's kind of like the chicken or the egg sometimes in real estate. What I see is these new agents, they're like gung ho and excited about business. And so they prospect, and then they get business, and then they stop prospecting. They stop trying to get more business because they're like, I got to take care of this client. And obviously, you should take care of your clients. But if you let off the gas on the prospecting, you're going to end up having this like roller coaster of a business. You'll have 2 or 3 transactions, and then you'll go 2 or 3 months with nothing. And then you'll have a couple transactions and then months with nothing. And that's because you're not prospecting. All of your focus is going on putting out fires, answering questions. And so when you put some systems behind that by hiring a transaction coordinator, you give your clients a consistent experience. And there's other things you can do for that as well, like giving your clients updates on a weekly basis, having a very clear path that they go through that automates some of the process. But hopefully that answers your question. The first hire should be your transaction coordinator if you struggle with paperwork. And once you get to that 24 transactions, then your next hire should probably go to helping you win more business. I don't have a transaction coordinator company, but I would ask the brokerage that you're with, and also maybe ask other top producing agents in the area. To me, it makes more sense to do local with that, to find a transaction coordinator company that's or coordinator period that is local to your market, because they're going to know, like, have good relationships with the title office and the lenders and the appraisers and the inspectors. They're going to have all of that information, as opposed to like a VA or somebody in another state. They're not going to have all of that information at their fingertips. So, something else that's really fun that I wanted to talk about, and we don't have to share details yet, but ML, you've really found your passion by working here, I feel.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you didn't even know that you loved this.
I didn't. It was actually kind of terrifying because I didn't know. I mean, there was a lot of unknowns, and I feel like a lot of my position in the beginning, I felt like I had to have a real estate license in order to do these things because I had a passion in them. But I mean, that was not a requirement. And I mean, I've always had a passion for helping people, and I love to work for people and see outcomes and just see the joy that it brings them. And I love making those relationships. And I feel like working with you and with our team, it's just, there's every day is different, but we get to work with so many amazing clients. I get to do the back end, which I love. And just, loving on our clients and doing appreciation events. It's just something that I truly enjoy. And I'm 32. It's taken 20 years for me to actually come to work and love what I do. Like, I truly enjoy what I get to do each day. And that was really hard for me to wake up in the mornings and be like, "Ugh, I've got to go to work. This is just, a requirement now that I'm adulting, and I truly just love what I get to do, and I'm just very grateful that I got to meet you and Mega Moms and come on with the team 2 years ago, and it's just really changed me and my family's life for sure.
Yeah. And I hear a lot of people say, like, I just need to find an ML, or I just need to find, somebody on your team. Like, Jessica, you lucked out because they don't exist, but actually they do. I mean, seriously, ladies, like I believe that ML came into my life because I was ready to receive you. And not that it's always been perfect, but I think that, had you came to work for me 5 years ago, it probably wouldn't have been the same experience. So tell me, if somebody's asking, how do I find an ML? I think a couple things to share with them is, one, what are your personality traits, and then what makes you really love the work you're doing, and then what makes you feel empowered and appreciated here at our office. Because if there's somebody out there that maybe they already have a team member and they're like, we don't have that dynamic, we don't have that relationship, what is something they could do differently? So, first off, describe you. Describe what makes you tick in this job, and then what could they do to find someone like you?
Well, like I said, I'm a very behind the scenes person, so I feel like with what my role has come to, a lot of that can be behind the scenes, where I'm still getting the interaction with our team and our clients, our vendors, our community. I love to love on people. I love to give out compliments, and sometimes that's too much for people. I can be too much for people, but because I'm more behind the scenes and I get to help create these dynamics from a text message or a phone call, I still get to do those things that I absolutely love. Um,
What
I
about
think,
DISC? Because so you're an ISA, which
mhm,
in case somebody doesn't know, that's an inside sales agent. So she handles like inbound calls. She doesn't speak, talk about real estate. She's literally just making someone feel loved and appreciated, and like we want their business.
mhm.
And then she connects them to their next step. So that next step could be a lender if they're not approved, or it's to me or one of the two agents that work with us, and then we take over the real estate stuff. So you're just like that first impression, which
Yeah.
is so important. And I think a lot of people would assume that that needs to be a high I, which is a very people person. What is your personality type?
I'm actually not exactly sure what it is on Cloverleaf. That is a great question.
I can
Uh,
pull it up.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, let's pull it up and see.
Okay. But
It's
if you, without that, how would you describe yourself? Are you a people person, extrovert?
um is there an in between introvert and extrovert? Because that's what I am. So if I'm around people, I'm definitely more of an extrovert, but when I'm behind the scenes or on phone calls, I'm very bubbly and very friendly, but in a very calm demeanor. I'm not like in your face. I'm very approachable, I would say, on a phone call. I'm not salesy whatsoever. I just make that very first connection. I'm informing them who I'm working with, who I'm working for, so they know that right off the bat. But I think just my calm demeanor, my bubbly personality, and I'm making that conversation about them and not myself. That's been a huge game changer because they want to talk about them, what they
Mhm.
want, and I think that's just making it about somebody else. I make everything about everybody else. It's never about me, and I think that's kind of a key point there.
Yeah, that's actually so true. And it's hard. It's not natural, right? We wanna talk about ourselves. I'm gonna share my screen and show you what ML looks like on our uh, on our Cloverleaf, and hopefully this is okay, ML. So she is scoring for under the disc. She's scoring 92 for S, which is that steadiness, calmness, like she said, very, very sweet. And then she's a 62 I, which is I is it says influence, but they're the people person. They're the one that they are, it's easy to make connections with people. They feel comfortable in conversations. And then a C is 58, and that's more of like analytical, detail oriented. And then D is 12. And D is like the dominant, the driver. And what's really perfect about this ML is like, look where we are.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're like opposite sides. So I think that that's a good takeaway is
Mhm.
if you're going to hire someone, really understand yourself first, understand your strengths and your weaknesses. And that goes not just in personality styles, but that goes in your business. So for example, I know as a high D, high I, like paperwork is my not my strong suit. It's my weakness, right? I can do it. I can be detailed, but I don't like to. And so I need to find people that love that
Mhm.
thrive on that, right? And so you and Madison and even Ty, you guys are like you are very detail oriented people, so you can make up for my weakness.
Yeah, and I think that's another key point is we love to do those things, and finding out what your new hire is truly passionate about. Like I love to create spreadsheets. I love keeping databases clean and organized. I love processes. Um, I, I enjoy paperwork. Probably not as much as Madison. Nobody can. She's laughing. Nobody likes paperwork as much as her. But as far as like just keeping things organized, and like my passion is to really keep Jessica organized. I enjoy to do that. I enjoy the reminders. I enjoy that admin role. It's just something that I've had a lot of experience in, and I thrive in that. And I thrive to do better each day. So finding somebody who truly has that core passion for that position may be difficult, but that's truly what you need to be looking for, is somebody who's just passionate about coming to work and doing what they do for you.
And I think that, the takeaway is that person does exist. Trust
Mhm.
me. And, something I've said before is if you build it, then they will come. You really have to build it first. You have to build your organization. You have to understand what it is you need. You have to understand yourself. And then you need to do those things first, and then you can hire. I made the mistake of hiring before I figured those things out, and it just ended in heartbreak.
Mm.
It was really tough because I wasn't ready. I wasn't the type of leader I should be. I didn't have the systems. I didn't anticipate potential issues that could come up, which is why I found it so helpful to to write this book, to create this course so that I can show other successful agents like, here's all the mistakes I made. Here's our game plan. Here's my employment agreement, my independent contractor agreement, my policies and procedures manual, like all of these things that are so important because the thing is those things will come up. They even come up for us. Like we even talked the other day and I'm like, well, remember the policies and procedures, and so I was able to go back to it. And that's a much easier conversation than like, I'm in the moment, I'm heated, or we are, and it's like, oh, well, no, I don't like that. And you can't do this, or I don't want to do this. It's like, no, here's something we've already gone through, we've already discussed. Here's the plan with it. It just makes it so much less personal.
Yes.
It's just like, here's our plan, and it's, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And ML is actually going to be offering some services to our mega moms. We're going to be announcing this soon, but she's going to do it. She's so what I think is so cool, ML, is you came to us 2 years ago, and I feel like you found your passion. I love having you work here, and I think in some ways you probably wouldn't have branched out or thought about even taking this,
Absolutely
passion
not.
to a next step without us, right? Without just
Absolutely
like
not.
not knowing it was possible.
Mhm. No, I had no passion or desire to do any of that until I came on with Mega Moms. I saw what you guys were teaching and the results and your passion for what you do. And no, had you asked me 2 years ago if I would even remotely think about these services that I'm offering and having confidence to do it, I feel like in the last 2 years, my confidence has just boosted. I mean, 1,000%. I did not have confidence when I came on with you guys, and the things that you've taught me And even just the small things that I've learned and I've grown from, mistakes I've made, things I've learned, by example, by the other mega moms. I mean, it's just very impactful. So I'm definitely excited.
I'm excited too. And I think it's important as a leader when you bring on people, because if you bring on talent, right, you bring on these amazing people that fit your criteria, they excel and exceed your expectations, that we as leaders need to empower them to grow. And, ML, that's one thing you and I've discussed at length. Like, my heart is always, what can we do to reach our goals? Like, what's your next goal? And I don't know, did you have goals before you came here? Like,
I mean,
really? Yeah.
I think we all have goals, but I don't think we actually realize what those goals are until we've hit a certain goal. And I think for me, I had never been able to hit a goal of being happy. And that's, I mean, in all aspects of my life, I think at that time, because I just was in a really bad place in my life. And it was definitely a God thing that put me where I was at that time. And I just feel like I'm now able to see God's plan. I'm now able to see that I can reach those goals because I have such an amazing support system, a family, friends that I get to work with and that just support me through maybe their crazy goals. But the fact that I'm not being told, like, you can't do that. There's no way that you can do this, without my help or
Mhm.
just having somebody who just supports me along my way with my dreams, my visions, and having you and our team, our team of mega moms just has been super, super impactful.
Yeah. I think that as a leader, you have to expand your world to grow as the people with you grow. And that's what I want to do in this next step. And I'm so, so, so excited. And of course, I have to rein myself back because I also go to like, oh, you could do this and this. And it's like, no, let's just like start with one thing, one step at
One
a
thing at
time.
a time.
So a few, again, we're not going to announce like what ML is actually doing yet. That's probably going to come next week. But um, one thing we can say is, ML, you've taken an active role within our coaching company,
Mhm.
and you are now a success coach in the inner circle, which means you're the primary one that's generating leads for our team. And she's bringing in anywhere from 5 to 10 qualified buyers for our team every single week. And she's done that consistently since she started this position like a year and a half ago, I believe. It's
Mhm.
or going on 2 years actually.
Yeah.
Very close to 2 years now. So she's had a chance to do trial and error to do exactly what it is we teach in the inner circle. She's the one that implements that on my team. So if you're not part of the inner circle, you should consider joining, because every the first Tuesday of the month you get to talk to ML and myself all about how to generate leads and opportunities for your business. So if consistent business sounds good to you, that's where you're going to find that information, is in the inner circle. And then for those that are considering building a team, ML is now answering questions once a week. Well, actually, my team is all taking turns, but each position on my team is answering, here's how I do my job. Here's my system and process for this specific thing. Here's how I report success. Like, answering all the questions that go along with a client experience coordinator, the marketing director position, the ISA position. And those are the things that ML does. She does those three roles or job descriptions on our team. So those are the things that ML is doing. I'm so excited that you're a success coach and that you're sharing. I think that's another thing you've probably surprised yourself with.
Yes, I remember the very first time you had asked me to do a live with you, and I think I was, like, frozen and, like, I had a heart attack for about 2 weeks because I was preparing for it, and I mean, I cannot emphasize how much of a backstage person I am. I don't like to be in the front and center. I don't do well with that. But in the last, over the last 2 years, I have been able to come on and do podcasts with Jessica or go to live trainings where people are actually asking me specific questions, and I would never have been able to do that 2 years ago. There's just no way. I literally, like, mini heart attack.
Well, and so that's interesting because I'm telling everyone right now this person's out there, but I think that you feel like you've grown into the position.
Mhm.
So what did you learn that is okay to learn on the job, right? Like, because again, you told me I didn't have prior marketing experience. We kind of slowly discovered some of your talents. Um, so how can they find that right person and then nurture them along the way and make them feel empowered to do their job?
I mean, ultimately, it just comes down to somebody who is a doer, somebody who is a giver of their time. I spent countless nights training. If I was told to do something and I wasn't exactly sure how to do it, I want to do it to the utmost best level that I possibly can. So that means watching YouTube videos, TikToks, asking the coaches, asking Jessica for help, asking, you know, group members like on our Facebook page, but taking time to train myself on how to actually do it is the best way to learn those things. But being a giver and being a doer has, I mean, that's a big part of it as well. Because
Well,
I
that's a
want
quality they should look at. I kind of say sometimes like a core value should be Google it,
to.
right? Because I will say you're really good at that. Like, in fact, even seeing like your Cloverleaf videos that come through or emails that come through,
Uh-huh.
you're one that you're going to go try to do all the research before you come and ask me. And
Mhm.
that's such a great fit for me because somebody that asks me like the same thing 20 times is probably not a great fit for my team. And I recognize that.
Yes. And I probably was there at the beginning, but also I don't know how long we've had Cloverleaf, but I love like, I wake up in the morning and I probably should do something else, but the very first thing I do when I wake up is go to my email, check my Cloverleaf, and then I think about it and I'm like, "Does that relate to me?" Or, "Did I respond to this person on my team appropriately? Did it make them feel bad?" Like, that really bogs me down, where I've said some things that probably came across very rude to somebody, and I'm reading my Cloverleaf that comes in each morning, and it's telling me this is the best way to approach this person with the conversation. Or if you have conflict with this person, this is the best way to just sit down and just this is how you're going to interact with this person. This is how they're going to respond. So definitely Team Cloverleaf.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try to interview them soon. I talked to somebody that helped them create it, so yeah, that's on my to-do list.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the big takeaway here is, first of all, it is possible to have a micro team and to be more profitable and sustainable and have a consistent experience for your clients long term. And the second thing is, find help on how to build that system, whether it be with me or with another coach. But it's really important to lay it out before you start the process and not to try to hire and then wing it. You're just going to have so much heartbreak and problems that come up from that. So I definitely advise like really building out that system and process before you decide to hire, and don't hire another agent first. Like that shouldn't be your first hire. The third thing is when you know what your core values are, and for me, one of those is always be learning and growing, and you can all see how ML demonstrates that. That is who she is to her core, and so we share that personal core value, which makes us a great fit. And so that may be different for each one that's watching, each team leader. You're going to have your own set of core values. And again, that's something we can help you discover in our course. But that's going to be key to helping you know that this person's the right fit long term on your team. And then the last thing I will share, I believe the next step in success for the micro team formula is to really be confident in yourself and your systems and your own abilities as a team leader. Because the more confident you are in yourself, the more confident and empowering you will be to your team. It would be really easy to feel threatened by someone wanting to grow and do something different or add something or whatever. But I think because I'm really secure in my role and the value that I bring, ML is empowered to grow and to reach goals that she didn't even realize she had whenever we first met. And I just love you so much, ML. Thank you for being
Aw.
on here.
Well, thanks for having me.
This was a little longer than I expected. I apologize. She's like, it's just going to be 30 minutes, right? I think we wanted 40 minutes. So,
That's
all right,
fine.
everyone. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.